Hey guys, SoloBase15 here, and today we're going to talk about Wat and what he can do for your GA success. Here you can see my Wat. Right now he's Gear 9, just missing a Cryotech to get him to Gear 10, and he's awfully modded at the moment. What you're going to want to do for his mods is you're going to want to give him speed, and as much speed as you can. And on top of that, you'll want to give him some health as well, because most people won't have him at 7-star at this point, obviously, because of how hard he is to get. So you're going to want to keep him a little more survivable. So let's take a look at what makes Wat so good. Here's his basic, where he dispels a debuff on an ally and he applies a heal over time on them at the same time. Next, we can see his second special, which includes a revive, but more importantly for this team is granting all allies protection over time for 2 turns and triggering the heals over time. Next, we look at Wat's unique, which grants max protection equal to 30% of his health to all Separatist and Darkside droid allies. So earlier when I said you want to mod him for health, this is why. He's also going to get granted crit avoidance to those allies as well. Finally is Wat's second unique, and this is where it gets really fun and interesting for him. He can grant allies certain techs that give abilities. So let's take a look at these abilities. First up is the Med Pack, which is going to give huge survivability in that the Toon will recover 5% health and protection at the start of every character's turn. And that means that he's constantly healing and constantly gaining protection back. Next up is the Shield Generator, and that's at the start of the turn, the Toon recovers 30% protection, dispels its own debuffs, and if it's a tank, they taunt while they have protection. Finally is the Weapon Mod, which gives 15% turn meter at the start of each enemy's turn, attacks ignore defense, and enemies can't be revived when defeated by that character. So let's take a look at this kit in action, and you can see how you're going to be able to save Traya when you fight the bugs. And so you're going to use a team of Newt, Dooku, Wat, Zalbar, and Vandor Chewie. And what you're going to do is give Zalbar the Shield Generator. This is going to force him to taunt constantly, and it's going to recover his protection. Meanwhile, you want to use Dooku to stealth your Separatists to keep them safe. And then you're going to use Newt to start applying extortion to the team of Geos. And you want to do this because it's going to start dealing 20% max health damage to every enemy with extortion. And under a Newt lead, the extortion is spread at the start of any Toon's turn when they have extortion. So quickly, this entire team of Geos is going to get extortion on them. And that means every turn that Newt goes and he applies extortion, he's going to be doing 20% max health damage. Now, Geos share a health pool because they're constantly resetting their health with each other at the start of every enemy's turn. And so that 20% max health damage is going to start to add up. Now, thanks to Zalbar's kit, how he reduces damage as he's getting hit, you're going to see that it's extremely hard to kill him. And the Geos are doing 1,000 damage, sometimes less than 1,000 damage, every time Zalbar is getting hit. So this is going to keep him alive. He's going to recover protection thanks to the Shield Generator. And he's going to be given the taunt because he has protection. Now, what you're going to want to do is give Newt the Weapon Mod. You want Newt to have the Weapon Mod because it's going to give him faster turns, which is going to give him faster damage against that max health. And finally, you want to give Vandor the last mod because you want to keep him alive. You'll see later in this video, when I go against a stronger Geo team, Zalbar is going to die on occasion. And you want Vandor Chewie there and prepared. That way when Zalbar dies, he's going to be revived, and you can do this all over again and save your team. The one downside to this strategy is, as you can see, we're 2.5 minutes in, and the Geos still have full health and half protection. This is not going to be a fast strategy. if you're looking for a quick 1 minute long fight or less, you're going to want to use Treya. But what this team is going to do is it's going to let you save Treya because she's so valuable on offense in Grand Arena that saving her for a more dangerous team is always a good idea. Now, this team has had time to build up its attacks. Its extortion is spread to the entire Geo team. And watch every time that Newt takes a turn how much damage he does to the rest of those Geos. And you'll see by this time, Zalbar has recovered basically his full attack and his full protection, I should say, and his full health, which is great for Grand Arena because you want to keep the banners high by having full protection. You'll also notice that more importantly, the rest of the team has full health and protection. So this is going to equal a 60 banner win if we can finish this way. Now, in between turns, what you're going to want is Wat to give the heals over time to Zalbar to make sure he's healing. You can use his special to give protection up as well if needed. And it's basically just about keeping Zalbar alive. You probably saw throughout this battle that Zalbar came close to dying a few times, especially early on, before he was able to get his footing. But there you have it. The Geos were just finished. A full 60 banners were gotten. Even when you use Treya, she loses protection, so you're not always going to finish with 60 banners. So now you're going to ask, what are the limits to this team? How high of Geos can I use? Because you're starting to see Relic level 4, Brute Alpha, Relic level 4, Spy, or even higher. I've even faced an R7 Alpha before. So what are the limits? Here in this battle, now this is TW, so you won't see the banners I get, but this was an R4 Brute Alpha, which means an R4 Brute as well. And you're going to see this one gets a little closer. Now, admittedly, this was my first time using the team. I did not play it perfectly. You can see I delay a little bit here to read what the different abilities were to make sure I was using the right abilities for each tune. But you're going to see this fight is going to drag on. You're going to see Zalbar die, which is why we have Vandor Chewy here. So even though Zalbar dies, it doesn't kill the rest of the team. But you're going to see the damage that is done as a result. So when you're asking yourself, what exactly is the limit to this team, the answer is going to be how relict your Zalbar is. Now, my Zalbar is R1 for both of these videos, so that'll give you kind of a hint. In the first one, I went up against an R3 Brute Alpha and an R1 Spy, and as you saw, I really had no problems. In this one, I'm going up against an R4 Brute Alpha, and I'm struggling to keep Zalbar alive. Even with the 30% protection gain at the start of his turn, it just really isn't enough. So when you're looking at the limits of your team, the one thing I would say is give relic levels to your Zalbar, and you can fight within 2 to 3 relic levels, and that'll keep Zalbar alive. Anything more than that is probably too much. And of course, the AI, they killed Zalbar. He was revived in this battle, but they immediately killed Wat, and so I couldn't reapply the shield generator. So this fight did not go nearly as well as the first video you saw, but I'm still going to finish with 19 banners. Now, part of the problem of losing Wat and not being able to apply his techs or not being able to apply the heals over time is less banners when it comes to Grand Arena. And this fight is going to go longer than the last one as well, because just less turns are being taken, or I have less tunes going. I also don't have Wat being called out of turn, so he's not playing damage over or applying damage over times, which doesn't do a ton of damage against these Geos, but they add up over time. Also, with the Zalbar Zeta, the damage over times that Wat applies also helps heal him as well, which could have been very useful. But with that said, even with losing Wat, even with Zalbar dying on multiple occasions, you're going to see Newt and Dooku are going to finish with full health and protection. So is Vandor, Chewie. Zalbar is not, because he lost the shield generator and didn't get it reapplied to him by Wat. So this is a territory wars battle. I'm going to finish for 19 territory war banners, but realistically, I would have lost 4 for losing Wat, and I would have lost at least 1 for losing the protection on Zalbar. So that means that this win would have been a 55-point win against an R4 Brood Alpha, which even that's not great, but it's also not bad at the same time. So now you can kind of see the limits. You can see where you can improve your team. You can see who you can face with this. If I was to go up against an R7 Brood Alpha right now, I can tell you I would go back to using the Traya team because I wouldn't trust this team. But at the same time, I'm going to get the win here, so it's good in the end. So there you have it, 2 different battles against 2 different strength Geo teams, both successful. I hope this video will help you gain some extra banners in Grand Arena, or help you take on a couple of those more difficult teams by using Traya for them, while you use this team for the Geos. With that said, thank you for joining me. Keep an eye out for the Gambit podcast. There's a link down below where Zareth and I will talk about some more tips and tricks for Grand Arena and what can help you succeed. Until the next time, thank you for joining me. I'm SoloBase15, and I'm always right.